Hey everyone, it's Professor Clark, and in this lecture, we are going to talk about this thing that I've been hinting at, that I've been tantalizing you with during these preceding lectures, and this is the Russian case system. If you've taken a language like Latin or even German, you know what a case system is. If you haven't, maybe this is all craziness to you. Don't worry, we'll learn all about it, and you will become more familiar with the Russian case system than you ever wanted to. The important thing is to just sit back, relax, and accept that it's real and it exists, and people really do talk like this. A lot of Americans want to be like, no, it's not possible. They can't possibly do something like this. Well, they do. So just believe me when I tell you that this is true, and also believe me when I tell you that you will learn this and it will make sense to you, and it will not be overwhelming. Let's start off with the real basics. What are cases? Cases, if you've never encountered them before, are these special endings that we put on nouns, pronouns, and adjectives. So we don't use them for verbs. Verbs have their own thing, which we will learn later. We use these for nouns, pronouns, and adjectives. And these endings indicate a word's function in a sentence. So it indicates whether it's the subject or the object or something like that. For example, in English, we use word order to indicate a word's function in a sentence. So if we say, Ivan loves Masha, we know that Ivan is the subject, he's the person doing the action, and Masha is the object. She's the person receiving the action of the verb. Because of the word order, we have Ivan before the verb and then Masha after the verb. We put the subject before the verb and the object after the verb. Well, in Russian, you don't have to do that. In Russian, we use case endings. We change the endings of words to show the word's function in a sentence. So we can say, Ivan любит Mashu. Ivan loves Masha. But we can also say, Mashu любит Ivan. And they mean the same thing. The important thing is not the order of the words. The important thing is the ending. And so we see that Masha has become Mashu. There's an U where that A used to be. And that means that she is in the accusative case and she is the object of the verb. And so in Russian, you don't want to pay so much attention to the order of the words. You want to pay attention to the endings of the words. So don't fret too much about where the words are in the sentence. Worry about what are the last letters of a word, because it will change depending on its function in the sentence. Russian has 6 cases. Most of these cases are going to be pretty familiar to you if you have studied some other inflected European language like Latin. Some of them are unique to Russian, but most of them are pretty standard for Indo-European inflected languages. And these cases are the nominative, the subject of a sentence or when something is something, the accusative, which is the direct object, the genitive, which is when we have something is of something, the prepositional, which we'll talk about in a bit and indicates location, the dative, which is when you're doing something to something, and the instrumental, which is when you're doing something by something. So we will go over all of these cases in more detail than you can possibly imagine. You will probably get very, very tired of them, but you will learn them. Have faith in that. So let's finish off with a quick overview of the nominative case. The nominative case is the case you're going to find if you look a word up in the dictionary. It's what some of us might call the base form. And the nominative case has 2 main uses in Russian. It can show that something is the subject of a sentence. So, Ivan любит Mashu. Ivan, the form Ivan, shows that this is in the nominative case and this is the subject of the verb. There's no ending there. It's just a bare ending. It's the same form as what you would find if you looked the word up in the dictionary. The nominative can also show the predicate complement, which is when something is something. So if we say Ivan Ruski, Ivan is Russian, both Ivan, the subject of the sentence, and Ruski, the predicate complement, are in the nominative. Feminine nouns are normally going to end in a or ya in the nominative case, as we've seen with names like Yelena or Natalia. Masculine nouns are normally going to end in consonants, like the names Viktor or Anatoly, but they can also end in a or ya, like the nicknames Vitya and Tolya. And so there you go. That is your introduction to cases. If you've already learned something like Latin, this probably seems really straightforward. If you've never encountered a case-based language, this probably seems really scary. Don't worry, it's not super scary. Millions and millions and millions of people speak this language and use the cases without any trouble. You too will learn how to use these cases, and they will come to seem normal and natural to you, and you will use them without thinking.